How do you feel knowing that year of development of sport and import in Latin America has been affected by coronavirus? My name is Maria Duran. In this video, I am going to inform you about the effects of the pandemic on sport and import in Latin America. We have heard many people talk about how the Latin American economy has been affected by the arrivals of this pandemic, without knowing in what aspect, how, and why it has affected it. What we know is that export and import are the most important indicator of a stable economy. The International Trade of Latin America and the Caribbean will have a pronounced fall of 23% in 2020, more than the one record during the financial crisis of 2009, when it fell 21%. I chose this topic because I believe that export and import are the engines of a stable economy. The Executive Secretary of the Economic Commissions for Latin America and the Caribbean, ICLAP, Alicia Barcenas, released at a press conference the institution's special coronavirus report entitled The Effects of Coronavirus on International Trade and Logistics, in which it projects that the value of regional sport will contract minus 23% this year, and that of import minus 25%. A figures also higher that the minus 24% recorded during the 2009 financial crisis. For this topic, I consider that to marker it clear how the pandemic has affected export and import in Latin America. It is important to highlight the drop in demand for products, the effects of quarantines, and the drop in productions. As I mentioned earlier, one of the most important indicators for a healthy economy is sport, which depend on a very important factor such as market demand. The reduction in global demand hit the region on the size of price and volumes since the beginning of 2019. The demand for products and services in the region fell by 2.2%. This resulted in a drop in the flow of international export between Latin America countries of 8.6%. China, which in recent years had been the main engine for the external sector of many Latin American countries, paralyzed its demand to the region, which represents a fall of 10.7%. And this factor in the drop in demand in Latin America region represents an economic collapse of the 21.5%. Knowing how the drop in demand for products influence, now we will see how the quarantine and government decisions have affected international trade. The government in the region have decided to close the country with curfews, mandatory quarantines, and border closure to stop the advance of coronavirus, and both to stimulate the economy in the face of restrictions, to extend the health system, and to help the sustainability of the people. Countries are forced to spend money to face the pandemic, aggravating indebtedness. This happens because countries are only spending and substituting, are not actively productions. This leaves us with an unemployment rate that increasing to 13.5% of the Latin American populations. But not only that, but also at the time leaves us with an increase in the poverty rate of 23.5%, which in turn must be substituted. Now, let's talk about the last point. We can speak of a drop in production in Latin America without mentioning the impacts on production in China. Export to China represent 2.6% of Latin American gross domestic productions, place the Asian country as the most important market from South American production, ahead of the USA as the epicenter of the coronavirus, which originated in the province of Wuhan. The China's economy has been hard hit by the pandemic. Industrial production fell by 13.5%, the large contraction in 13 years. This will mainly affect Mexico and Brazil, countries that import spare and intermediate goods from China for their manufacturing sector, especially in the case of auto parts, household appliances, electronic products, and the pharmacy. I hope that this information has been to your liking. Latin America has been growing slowly since low before the pandemic hit the regional in late March, and the arrival of the coronavirus causes a 10-year setback in the form and volumes of export and import from Latin America to Latin America. I hope that knowing the effect of the pandemic on export and import in Latin America will give us a new perspective of how this pandemic is severely affecting the globalized economy that has trying to fortify for so long.